It is said that the future Latino leaders of America are right here in Boston, studying at any one of our many colleges and universities. In the past, it was more difficult for these students to meet others at neighboring schools, but with the connectivity of social media, social gatherings that unite different student bodies are becoming more common than ever. Alberto Vasallo takes a fun look at one recent get-together.
That's right, Byron. With so many Latino students coming into the 114 colleges and universities that we have, events like these are taking place all over the city of Boston.
So this event is called La Gozadera, which means to enjoy. It's an annual event that MIT Casino Rueda hosts, it's a dance team here on campus. It's been a collaboration between MIT and BU Salsa for a couple of years now, so we're very excited to be working with them.
This event is basically for college students to celebrate salsa, but also for us to connect to the larger Boston community of salsa, to invite them to come and dance with us, and just to bring everybody together.
Usually this event draws a mix of people. There are people who have never danced salsa before and are learning it for the first time and just want to experience the culture, and there are people who are very integral parts of the salsa community.
This is awesome. Like, I already danced with like 4 or 5 girls, and they all know how to dance salsa, and that's very, very weird here in Boston. I'm not from BU or MIT, I'm from Northeastern. This event is great.
The thing that I love most about Boston is the wide arrangement of people. So many different types of people, fun, Middle Eastern, Latinos, Asian, and United States. It's amazing.
So everything went well tonight, everything was awesome, but they did need one more thing.
We want Byron here!
You heard them, Byron. They want you here next time. For Urban Update, I am Alberto Vasallo.
Whoa, I guess I'm going to have to get out my dancing shoes and maybe make that next event there for a little salsa. It looks like fun. And with that, now we're going to segue into you, Will Morales. Last week, Boston Mayor Marty Walsh announced the appointment of William Morales as the Commissioner of the Boston Centers for Youth and Families, BCYF, which provides vital resources to Boston's youth and senior populations. In his role as Commissioner, Morales will serve within Mayor Walsh's Health and Human Services Cabinet and will oversee many of the key functions and programs of the centers, including an array of out-of-school time programs, elderly and family-centered programs, youth violence prevention, and efforts that connect at-risk youth to services and youth employment opportunities. Boston Centers for Youth and Families are in every neighborhood in the city. And having said that, we now welcome the city's new commissioner of the Boston Centers for Youth and Families, Will Morales. Will, welcome to Urban Update. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And let's, if we can start off by just kind of reminding viewers of what capacity you've appeared in before, because you're no stranger in working with the community.
Yes, I am. Well, I think the last time I might have been here was probably on 2 occasions. One was with Harvard Pilgrim. They had sponsored a forum that was focused on black and brown boys and looking at how corporate America, private and agencies can actually connect to make a difference in the lives of these young people. And I think I co-came with Janelle Woods McNish and Keith Marion for that. And then the other time was with the Eggleston Square Main Streets program in High Square, when we were talking about doing a special ESL course, especially for the small owners who come from foreign descent, to improve their business English skills.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Boston Centers for Youth and Families. You're now the commissioner. Tell us a little bit about what role the centers play in the community.
Well, I think what they play is that they're a hub. They're a great connecting place for people in the community to come together. They're safe spaces for young people, and most importantly, they're spaces where they allow senior citizens, or like I like to call them, active older adults, to really come together and really talk about a little bit about what's happening in the community in a place that grants them the opportunity to continue to grow as individuals.
And how do you see your role as commissioner of these centers?
Well, I see my role in 3 ways. I see myself as a facilitator, as a convener, and most importantly, as a servant leader. I want to hopefully walk in to any one of our centers and really kind of demonstrate a sort of a example about what it's possible. If you know what I mean, if people kind of look at themselves and say they want to definitely improve their lives by being active in different programs.
What do you think you bring to the table?
I think what I bring to the table is I bring a real lived experience. probably a good example of what happens when a city fails an individual, but at the same time provides an individual with a second chance to do better.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have a passion for youth. You're kind of an example of what it means to be growing up in a city. Can you tell us a little bit about your own personal journey?
Sure. Well, we migrated here from Brooklyn, New York, and my mother came here because she was leaving a tough situation in order to try to make a better life for her children. Unfortunately, I came to live and reside in a community in where we didn't have access to a community center. We didn't have access to another organization that kind of helped us. So I kind of fell through the cracks very, very quickly. By the time I was 12, I was system involved. By the time I was 14, I dropped out of high school. And by the time I was 16, in response to sort of the gang epidemic that was happening in Boston, I had no other choice to sort of roll with my boys in that kind of lifestyle. Unfortunately, I would become sort of the very first victims, as I like to say it, on the war on drug bill, and I will become one of that wave of young men who will end up getting a 10-year mandatory sentence. It was a time when we were sort of locking up the problem of drugs in our communities. At the age of 20, I watched the news one night from my jail cell and heard of a young man open fire on 2 Boston police officers. I would later find out that that young man would be my brother, and hence my transformation began to happen through a very traumatic experience. 21 years ago, I was released from prison and came back to a community that was really well organized, but very hesitant about welcoming me back. I came back to a pool of issues and stigmas that are connected being an ex-convict. But I also remember also being approached by a group of youth workers and individuals who saw potential in me to do something more for my community, because I also came back with the intentions to make amends in my community. And I remember meeting Chops Porter, who was one of the original street workers of the Boston Centers of Youth and Families, who kind of took me under his wing and put me on the path that I'm in today, and that flourished and blossomed too.
Do you have any, I guess, advice or insights for young men who
Sure.
are in your situation, coming out, coming back into society after having served time?
Well, I'll share with them what Chops Porter shared with me. Keep it real. Be real to yourself. Understand that you're going to hit more blocks before you can see any doors open. But the thing is to stay focused and make sure that you're keeping that drive inside of you to kind of push forward and find those opportunities that are going to benefit you as a whole. And define success under your own measures, not by anybody else's. And that's the thing that I tend to work with a lot of young people who find themselves in that situation coming out.
Now, these Boston Centers for Youth and Families, you're the commissioner again now, which is an amazing journey you have there. These centers are in all neighborhoods all over the city, are they not?
Yeah, they're scattered throughout the cities. There's about, in total, 35 facilities. 17 of them have pools, and I believe we have 1 beach. And my mother jokingly told me, I hope you're going to put some palm trees in the beach and kind of bring a little bit of that Caribbean flavor back here. But each of the centers you'll find some consistent programming as far as after-school programming, senior programming, but sometimes they also adapt to also meet the needs in the community, whatever that situation may be, and develop programs for specific populations who sometimes, need something a little bit differently.
And what are some of the important contributions you're hoping that these centers will provide for the city?
Well, what I'm hoping is that, one of the things that I praise is that I'm not coming in and finding a system that's broken or an organization that's broken. I think there's a lot of good people doing good work that's equating to some great outcomes for some of the good folks in the city of Boston who need it the most. So I'm looking for the next couple of weeks to really look, listen, learn, and hopefully from that experience form what my ability to lead is going to be. I think that I have a great team who's going to be working with me to make sure that we do some really good stuff for the residents of Boston.
Okay, all right. Will Morales, the new commissioner for the Boston Centers for Youth and Families in the city. Good luck in your new endeavor.
Thank you.
And you got a lot of great experience knowledge to impart to some of these young people. I'm sure you're going to do a great job.
Thank you, Byron.
Okay, thank you much, Will.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. Well, that's it for this edition of Urban Update. And for all of us here, I'm Byron Barnett. Have a great Sunday, everyone.